I'm here again in Pink Sofa Conversation, and this time I'm with Sylvia, a fellow painter. How are you, Sylvia?
I'm well. How are you?
Very well. Sylvia, tell us about you. What do you do?
I'm an artist, primarily a painter. My practice is focused on female narrative and aesthetics of absence. So anything really to do with images of women and often their disappearance.
Yeah, because Sylvia, you and I met many years ago. We were both in an art studio space where everyone had their little corner. And I remember popping by and saying, this lady is mysterious, because what you do, it has some darkness, there is some mystery, and there is this kind of like light painting. What is the materials that you use? It is acrylic, is it oil?
I prefer oils, definitely. I like to paint in oil. It's just this luminosity that's otherwise, well, impossible to achieve, I think. Yes, my works do come out that way. They come out dark, and sometimes, some people even say a little bit scary, a little bit gothic, a little bit mysterious, but that's organic. I never planned on it. That's how it works. I suppose it's in line with my personal aesthetics as well, and in a way it's in line with the theme, because if I work with portraits of women that lived some time ago, I suppose this ghostly qualities somehow transfer into the work. So it just altogether makes sense, I think.
So Sylvia, for the people that don't know you, what's your background? Where are you from? Because you have a little bit of a light accent.
Oh, my accent. I was born in Kraków, which is in Poland. I suppose you know Poland, but and then I have come back to making art a little bit later in life. It's been a good few years when I can say that I'm really fully committed. The background, I've always made art, since I was a teenager. That's who we are. You're being born an artist, really, and then either you act on it or you don't, and that's really the choice that people make. I don't think you can decide on becoming an artist. So
Is there any story or woman's story that you want to share with us? Any up and coming project? Because I feel like when you see the painting, your paintings, I'll show them later, of course. There's all these possible lives behind that face and the mysterious of the setup. Is there any specific story, historical figure, or any kind of influence you have when you're painting?
Well, actually, it's quite opposite. I'm working with anonymous images. I'm working with so-called orphan images. I got some to show on this interview. There's a lot of examples, part of my collection. So, for me, it's a very important part of my practice that I work with photographs that I collect. And I ideally buy them in person. I usually buy them on flea markets. So they are completely anonymous. So it is in a way, the paintings are the way of honoring these women and recording their image again. And if you think of it, these photographs could be treasured in somebody's, family album, but it's just like, on a flea market. That's, it's quite sad, they unwanted, they forgotten, so I'm doing quite the opposite. I'm bringing them around again. So, no, I don't know. And I never really, I don't think it would be even possible to find out more that what would it take to find out more about those women. But that's definitely part of my practice, that they are anonymous, and therefore they become collective. Mm-hmm. And some people who looked at my paintings, they claimed them as Victorian, although they weren't. But actually, I really, really enjoyed that, because I want people who look at my painting to claim them as their own potential ancestors. You know what I mean? So if I use the photo from different cultural region, which is Slavic, which is Polish, and then somebody says, "Oh, they're Victorian," I really, really like it, because that's that proves that maybe getting where I wanted to be as an artist.
And what I think it's kind of like current, beyond the fact that you're talking about women, you're a woman. I'm sure you have a lot of women in your life that have really been an influence in your biography. But now with this whole new empowerment of, finally, after so many decades of the women, it seems like the whole Me Too movement. Is there anything related on this topic that you want to say, or you rather don't go into politics and you don't want to be related to this movement?
It turns out to be that I'm in vogue now, yes, with my practice. No, it's not directly related. My works do not touch on it. They're political in a sense. If you want, you can call them political in a sense that, they're giving women a place, they're giving women a visibility. That was behind my practice as well. I decided at some point, it was a very conscious decision, that I will not paint men because they've been painted enough. Simple as that, But no, I'm not directly related to that movement. But I think it's very important, and it's obviously very, very good that these things are happening, and we see women being successful leaders, and yeah, the time is probably the best for women that has ever been. That's true.
Yeah, to take ownership of our lives and make what we consider is the best for ourselves as a group of individuals, certainly. And I love that you said men have been painted enough. I do agree with that. And I also think women have been mainly painted always in the same context, having always a secondary role in the paintings. And it's great to see that they are the main actors. They're the ones having the action in your storytelling. I think that's very powerful.
Thank you.
Sylvia, you're currently painting all the time. It's been very hard because it's lockdown in the world again, second wave, we're all literally desperate. But you've been really active selling your art online and posting pictures on Instagram. Are you still painting? What kind of size of paintings are you doing now? Are you going to smaller scale, bigger scale? Are you still on oil?
I'm still painting in oil, so I'm not that bothered with turpentine. So it doesn't bother me that I use it at home. I love the smell. I don't believe it's toxic, but don't quote me on it. And then my works has gone domestic in a scale, definitely, since the first lockdown, since March last year, when I had to give up my studio. Yeah. I've been painting small, and that's been a challenge. Sometimes frustration, but also I think, it is a progress. Sometimes restriction can force us to come up with something new, different way of solving the painting. But to be honest, I terribly miss painting large scale. My figures can be quite large, I'm quite comfortable with a couple of meters format. That's it's a different type of gesture, it's a different type of relation to the surface, to the painting. It's quite physically engaged, is way more free, I find my hand literally being constrained if I have to work on a small scale. But it's this or not working at the moment. So I think, we all have to make choices and make most of it. But having said so, I have a project coming up in a couple of weeks that I'm really excited about. It's a lovely gallery, one paved court gallery in Richmond that is giving me the space to work in for a few weeks.
Very good.
Because
that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's going to be back to the large scale. So I'm really excited about that. It's really kind and generous of them, you know. Otherwise, gallery is empty now. It's closed. So they came up with this project to make sure that, you know, the artist can create something. There's another lady before me in there now, and and that's me.
This is a lovely initiative. I love it. So you're going to be there a couple of weeks. You're going to be able to spend as much time as possible and do your bigger scale illustrations. I'm sure you're going to share, I hope you share your experience on social media so we can have a little bit of a glance on what you're doing.
Definitely, yes. I'm starting on 15th, so very soon.
Very good. And are you, for those that don't know your art yet, are you very much collaborative with other artists, or are you the type that you're in your studio, even if it's like a shared space, like we had this massive building, and you're focused on your practice, or do you collaborate and do other projects with other artists?
I'm definitely more of a solitary person and a solitary artist. So it's a trait of personality. I miss the feedback of my peers, definitely, comparing to art school. I do, or the studios we share together. The feedback is super precious, so I miss that, but I do prefer to work alone, definitely.
Great. And Sylvia, if you wish to go into this last question that I have for you is, how do you see this new world? It seems like the new norm is literally going to be the norm for us for the future. Things being a little bit more digital, maybe not being able to be all on the road in the same way that you used to be. How do you think this translates to your art?
Oh, and then again, I've made a conscious decision to work in an analog way. I had a brief flirt with digital art, and no. It's fantastic in a sense. So it's fantastic in a sense, all the technology and progress that we can take as an artist care of self, you know, of showing our own work. We can take care of our exposure ourselves, so that makes artists more independent. But in terms of practice, actual practice, I choose analog tools. I choose all those, you know, time-honored processes. I think that's even more important now, to make sure we have this knowledge and we pass it on forward, you know. But that's not to say that any other work made digitally is, you know,
less. No, of course. I mean, you said it before. No. Yeah, we are born artists, and for you, it's a way to engage with your context, to speak to the world, and it's not something that you fake. It comes from a very deep place. Same happens to me, and so you feel comfortable in the physicality. And myself, I do the same. I enjoy drawing. I like painting. All this digital thing is maybe not the kind of art that I would spend hours doing things like that.
Definitely. I think, you know, it's very important for me to be engaged with materials, like physicality of materials, you know, all the olfactory qualities, as well as I mentioned turpentine, you know, that is just, that is a certain smell as well that triggers, you know, happy memories, and it's very different type of work.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, Sylvia. We're going to share social media links and all sorts with the people so they can follow you. And we're keen to see what you do in your gallery. Maybe we can do a live or some little video when you're there too again.
Oh, that would be lovely. Thank you. Yes, fantastic.
Thank you, Sylvia. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.